point to the person that is sleazy, and slimy, and manipulative, and not trustworthy, and all the things you guys just said about salespeople. We can't take our top sellers and turn them into managers overnight. He's got a rule that says, all buyers are liars.
Welcome to the second episode of the Authentic Sales Leader Podcast Season 2. Today, we continue our conversation with Michal Norton, EVP Sales at Sandler, and he talks about his perspective on AI in sales and the one Sandler principle that you should not follow. So, back to talking about sales and your sales journey, how it started. But I think more important is how you stay at something, because you've been doing this. You started in what, 19? You said 84. It was
my first sales job ever was 1986. So
86.
I've been doing this for 38 years.
I was 8 years old then. I was 8. Yeah, 86. Yeah. So how has it? There's probably a lot that's happened since then. Almost 40 years. But in a minute, how has it evolved? What are those salient changes? The critical key changes you see from then to now.
Yeah. So here's again, being in my industry, or sales training, sales management, sales leadership training. People are always looking for the new thing. Like, what's new that's going to work? What's new that's going to change? And we do have to change. We do have to add things to our techniques and our skills, our behaviors, our mindset, the way that we go about it. But it's not what's new that works, Amarpreet. It's what works that works. And building trust. Like, if you're going to ask me what's the number one trait the salesperson can master that would have the greatest impact on their ability to sell, it's having the ability to establish trust, build on that trust, further that trust, and maintain that trust. When you have that, and there's a lot goes behind it, it's confidence, it's learning, it's all the things you do that build up to trust. But if you can maintain that trust, and that's no different from 50 years ago to right now. So any young sellers, it's like, pay attention to that. You want me to give you a great Zig Ziglar story? It's a little parable that Zig used to tell. And so there's 3 personas: fire, water, and trust. And we put them into these personas. And the 3 of them, fire, water, and trust, decide they're going to go on a hike one day. And they get to the trailhead and they look up and they say, "Whoa, this is a much bigger hike than we anticipated. This is some serious hiking. We better have a plan in case we get lost." And so fire spoke up first and said, "You know what? It'll be easier for you guys to find me. Just look for smoke. Where you see smoke, you'll find me. You'll find fire." And water spoke up next and said, "Oh, it'll be easy for me too. Just look for lush green grass, thriving shrubbery, wildflowers, and where you find those, you'll find me." And trust spoke up last and said, "Well, the 2 of you better keep a very close eye on me, because once trust is lost, it's really hard to find." You have to establish trust, build on that trust, further that trust, and maintain that trust.
And I think in some ways, sometimes I feel over the last, maybe 10, 20 years, in sales, I sometimes think we've become way too transactional, So, I know there's always an idealistic, this is what sales is about. We also the used car salesman, has always been around. That's not just a 10, 20-year-old thing. It's a 50, 70-year-old thing. But you've seen it for 40 years. Has it become more transactional, or has it always been there's transactional people and there's, people who aspire genuinely to do good selling?
Yeah, there's definitely people who are trying to do good selling. The transactional thing, look, again, having been at this for as long as I've been at it, I've been in this specific industry for more than 25 years now. So I've been in a lot of classrooms. I've attended a lot of trainings by other companies. And the thing that infuriates me today is that there's still companies out there that will start a session, do a training session, and ask the salespeople in the room, "What do you think about when you think about salespeople?" And they force this negative connotation. Oh, sleazy, slimy, manipulator, used car salesman, blah blah blah, and all these negative things come out. And so I was actually in one of these sessions, and I'm looking around the room, and everybody in there looked super professional, dressed not in a suit, but dressed really nicely. I remember this. We were sitting in San Antonio, and the facilitator was doing the class, and I just stopped and I said, "Hey, wait a second. I get it. I get the point you're trying to make. Like, we don't want to be those transactional, slimy, manipulative, salespeople." But I said, "Can you all do me a favor? Can you just look around the room, look at your table, point to the person that is sleazy and slimy and manipulative and not trustworthy and all the things you guys just said about salespeople. Zero. We've evolved. The profession has evolved. This is profession. When you treat it as a professional, is no different than a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, whatever it is. When you take your craft of selling and you really understand it, all those bad, adjectives to describe bad salespeople go away, right?
Are we getting better? Or are we getting worse?
That is a great, deep question, Amarpreet. So one of the things we haven't figured out as a society yet, and this is the article that I just posted, or just posted yesterday, about the sales leaders of the future and how not to hire and what not to do. What we haven't figured out in the corporate world is that we can't take our top sellers and turn them into managers overnight. Like we say, this is what happens. A spot opens up in management. We look down at our team and we say, well, you know what, Amarpreet, he would be a great sales manager. He's our number one seller. He's awesome. What if we put him in the role and he can replicate himself? And you know how many times that actually happens, Amarpreet, where you can actually replicate yourself in your team? It's zero. It's a big zero. So what's broken is that, because what we should be doing is first saying, hey, Amarpreet, do you even want a job in sales management? Do you want to, you're going to make more money as a salesperson. You can come over here. You won't have a quota maybe, but you'll have a team quota you have to hit, and you're playing the odds. You're going to have a whole lot of headaches. You're going to work nights and early mornings. You're going to have all this extra work for less money. There's some people who want to do it. They want to take that path. I was one of them. I was the top salesperson for a very, very, very long time before I decided I want to make this leap. But I'm wired because I want to help people. I want to build people up. When we take a top seller out of the field and put them into a management position without giving them the skills to coach and mentor the people underneath them and true sales management skills, it's a triple loss. We lose all that productivity. Customers are going to go away because they have the relationship with that seller. No matter who you put in behind them, you're going to have attrition. They're going to be customers who stayed with you because of your relationship, and at the first chance you're gone, they're going to go to the other salesperson who's been calling on them and they wanted to give them a shot, right? So you're going to lose all that productivity, and you're going to gain an inept manager. And if they can't lead and manage their team, then those people on that person's team are going to leave too. They're going to quit eventually because they're not being led or managed the right way. So what's broken in that, what's not better is we haven't gotten better at that, to your question. Has it gotten better or worse? We've not gotten better in really, because sales managers are force multipliers in anything you want to get done in the company. If you make them good, if you equip them to be successful, they have to manage up, they have to manage down, and they have to manage side to side, meaning side to side, talking with their peers, other sales managers. What are your best practices? What are you guys doing over there? How come you're winning? And give me more about this. They have to work with marketing. They have to work with operations. They have to work. Their job is to do everything they can to empower their salespeople to succeed. So it's not just managing up and down, it's managing side to side. And if we don't equip them or show them how to do that, it's a disaster.
You spoke earlier about, Zig Ziglar. I think you shared a couple of, stories. What's the most memorable David Sandler story that you recall?
And the story that resonates with me is how he actually developed his selling system. So he was out trying to make sales, and this is face-to-face, belly-to-belly. He's going building to building, and everybody is telling him no. Like, he just keeps getting no. And so one day he had gone to a call, and he was doing his presentation. He thought it went flawless, and he got in his car with a no. And he sat there thinking about it, and he said, I'm going to find out why. And he walked right back into the building, sat across from the guy, and said, listen, I got to ask you a question. Was it my breath? Was it my clothes, my tie? It was the way I presented? What was why did you say no? I'm struggling so much, and if you would just tell me. And I was like, no, it wasn't you at all. You did a great job. It's where I am right now in budget cycle, and I just can't pay you. I can't afford what you're selling right now. It's truly, that's truly the answer. So what that in turn taught him to do every call after that was go as deep as possible into the pain to qualify. Qualify hard, close easy was his mantra. Qualify hard, close easy. When we get really good at qualifying to understand, and then qualification by itself is meaningless. If to just say you're qualifying and asking questions about pain, no matter how much pain you put them in, unless you quantify for them what that pain is. What does that mean to you? How much does it cost you so far not to fix it? What happens if you don't fix it? So my lesson from David Sandler is, there's that movie, Glengarry, Glen Ross, where Alec Baldwin, ABC, always be closing. And that couldn't be more wrong. Could not be more wrong. What David Sandler would tell you is ABC, always be curious. Ask the better questions. Dig deeper. Do not accept surface level answers, because when you accept surface level answers, you're no different than any other salesperson who walked in there to try to sell that same prospect. What is the business impact? What's the personal impact? What have they tried? Right? How much has it cost them? What if they don't make a decision to switch? Like, getting as deep as you possibly can. And I will tell you that some salespeople have a hard time with that. But when and anybody watching this or listening to this, if on your very next sales call, whether it's in person or on using technology, see how many questions you can ask about what's going on with their clean game. Is it something really badly broken that they have to fix, or it's going to become a worse problem? Or are they doing really great and they just have a new goal that they want to achieve and you want to help them achieve? Ask as many questions, go as deep, always be curious. And then take it one more level, always be even more curious.
I think I'll raise my hand, and I would have said, always be closing. I like the curious take. That's going to stay with me. But now, what is a David Sandler, Sandler principle, or what is a Zig Ziglar teaching that you've never agreed with, that you don't follow? Well, what is that?
Yeah. So, and I think we hear this a lot when we are talking about Sandler with our prospects. And you have to understand where it's coming from. And there's things called real world Sandler and literal Sandler. So in literal Sandler, meaning you accept everything as gospel, he's got a rule that says all buyers are liars. And when you are working with a prospect and you're going through some of the content, and then when they see that, they're like, "Wait a second, you call me a liar?" It says all, not some. It says all buyers are liars, and that's it's a tricky thing to backpedal on or navigate. But you have to tell them the concept, and you say, "Listen, we've been at this for a really long time. I can tell you right now, as I showed you, more than 25 years in personal and professional development. I can't tell you how many calls and meetings I've been in where somebody says, I just need to think it over," when really what they wanted to tell me was no. They just didn't want to be impolite, so they lied and just said, "I need to think it over." Or, they will tell you, I'm the decision maker. You have to, you're talking to the right person, and you get all the way to the contracting phase, and they say, I got to bring my boss in. So they will not always tell the truth. And our job is to get to the truth. We have to be truth seekers, and not in a bad way. And so here's the elegant solution to that, Amarpreet. So now when somebody says, "Hey, Amarpreet, you just told me, hey, Michael, I do want to, invest in my people and do some sales training. I just need to think it over." Now, the Sandler, the professional, elegant tactic is, Amarpreet, I respect that. I really do. I want you to be the hero of this story, whatever's going to happen. So if there's something that you need to think about, can you share with me, what are the 2 or 3 things you want to think about, so that while we're together, I can give you as much information as possible? And they may or may not have anything. And I might say, Amarpreet, I'm a big boy. I've been doing this a really long time. I've been in sales for 38 years. A lot of times when I hear think it over, people just want to be nice to me and not hurt my feelings. And that's okay. If no is no, because I respect you too much to chase you and keep sending emails and call you and text you. If it's no, can we just agree it's no? What do you think happens when you say that to a prospect who just told you, I think it over? Only a couple things happen. The first one is, you know what, Michael, you're right. I'm sorry to say, it's no. Awesome, right? Awesome. Now I have a chance to go dig into why. Handle the object. Why is it no? But the other thing that happens is, no, Michael, no, I really do. I need to bring my team together. I need to socialize this. Awesome. Now what are you going to socialize? What information can I give you? What can I equip you with? And since you are so familiar with DISC, Amarpreet, so a lot of times when you hear, I just need to think it over, your D, your I, and your C, you can push on in the way I just described to get to the real root cause. But if you are across the table from an S, and the S says, I need to think it over, and you've picked up on their style based on their body language, their tonality, the words they're using and saying, the questions they're asking. If I know I'm talking to an S, whole different thing, because an S really does need to think it over.
So Yeah, before we're going to start wrapping up, but now all this curious is in my mind. I keep sharing my thoughts and I keep asking people. So AI is here, or at least I believe it's here. It'll probably have a bump or two. I don't think it's going to be a smooth sailing. But what do you think about this age of AI? What is going to change? What's going to remain the same? So how are you seeing this so-called coming age of AI?
So, as you know, I'm a self, described geek when it comes to anything that can help salespeople and get better. And AI. So, I don't know, a year or 2 years ago, when we all heard all about AI coming and ChatGPT and all these enabling technologies, and this has been going on since 1999. People look at the internet and say, oh, we will never need salespeople again. Everything's going to be self-serve. It's going to be a digital buying experience. Salespeople are going to be gone and going away. Well, back in 1999, I think the number was there was 33 million total salespeople in the world. And when we look at today, there are 70 million salespeople in the world. There's more sellers on the planet today. So AI and ChatGPT are going to, and the salesperson who embraces and is enabled by AI, everything it can do is going to outperform the salesperson who refuses to believe that it's here and it can help. And I'll give you just one example. The way that we use it, the way that I have my team using it, is pre-call planning. I mean, you can go in and here's we've developed a template for pre-call planning. AI will populate it for you. You tell it the industry, the customer, what are their pains, what's going on in the industry, who do you need to talk to? It's going to scrape 15 million transactions and tell you what you need to be prepared for going in.
So how should leaders prepare for AI? How should reps prepare for AI? Is it the same? Is it different? You're a leader yourself. You watch reps every day. You folks are good adopters. I mean, I know of AI. So how should leaders prepare? How should reps prepare for AI for tomorrow?
Just continue to be a sponge. As you said it when you teed up this question, it's going to be a little messy. It's going to be a little tricky. It's not perfect right now. But if we use it, if you go in and just start mastering it, start reading everything that the analysts are putting out, start reading blogs by the people who have been looking at AI for 10 years, right? They knew this was coming. There's so much data out there, whether you're a salesperson or a leader, on how you can leverage AI for your business. The thing is this: don't be afraid of it. Like, people put it off, and they're going to put it off and put it off and put it off until they're forced to do it. My guidance would be, jump in now, and they'll give you, Zig Ziglar would say it this way: anything worth doing is worth doing poorly until you can do it well.
How do we stay human, right? We our name comes from, I thought, being human, right? Humantic, AI in a human manner. So I think about that topic a lot. How do you stay human, while all these things it seems like getting automated, right? Do this quickly, do this fast. What does it take to stay human? Because I suppose that will still be critical, right?
Yeah, and I was trying not to give you any, plugs during this podcast, recording, but I love Humantic, and you want to talk about, how you remain human and what you guys have done. It's game changing. And again, I say this when you're not on a call, Amarpreet, or you're not anywhere around me, and I show Humantic to people. And here's the human part of that. As we talked about earlier with DISC, our job as sellers has always been to understand who we're sitting across from, based on the questions they ask, the words they use, their tonality, their body language, whatever. We can pick a, hey, I'm dealing with a high D. Hey, I'm dealing with a high I. When I have Humantic, and 10, 15 minutes before I'm about to go into a meeting, I get an email that tells me, here's the 3 people you're meeting with, and here's how they like to receive and get communication, or receive and give information, the way they like to communicate. I look at that. Now, if I'm speaking to an I, like an I, all right, I'm having a better human-to-human interaction.
Human, yeah.
Right. It's not I'm using the technology to dehumanize it. I want to get to that point where normally it would maybe take me 10 or 15 minutes to pick up on their style. And now I'm adapting my conversation 10, 15, 20 minutes later because I'm now seeing that they're truly a C. When all along I could have, hey, I'm meeting with Amarpreet. He's a DC. I'm going to be really direct.
Yeah.
I have all my facts and figures. I'm now having a better human-to-human interaction because I know that information.
So, Michael, I want to start wrapping it up. I know, we have so much time. There's a few. I want to do a quick fire, a few questions. I think there's probably going to be a lot to take away from that one. So let me see what we've got here. So I've got a few things here. I'm going to run through that. Let's see what your take on that. So are you ready?
Yep. Fire away, boss.
All right. So here we go. First one. If a salesperson could have only one skill, it will be
the ability to build trust.
Trust. One old skill that everyone should discard today.
Talking more than questioning. Salespeople still tell. Telling is not selling.
And one new skill that everyone should adopt.
Well, one new skill that everybody should adopt. I would say in the world we live in today is confidence. Confidence in yourself, confidence in your products and services, and confidence in your company that you're going to stand behind those products and services and stand behind you. Confidence is, we hear it a lot in sales calls that companies are struggling, their salespeople are struggling today with all the change, all the disruption, all the technology. It's kind of taken away some of their confidence. So keep that confidence high.
Confidence. So what's the biggest needle mover in sales?
Qualifying. And again, I've done straw man polls on this. I've done surveys on this, and I asked people, CEOs, to CROs, to SVPs of sales, even salespeople, if you can do one thing better that would have the greatest impact on your team, is it the front end, meaning prospecting, filling the funnel? Is it the middle, qualifying and presenting? Or is it the back end, proposing, closing, and winning the business? If your team could get better at any one area, and a lot of people say all of it. I'm like, no. If you really had to zero in on one, qualifying.
So focus. Perhaps focus, right? That means focus.
Speaking to the right person at the right time with the right budget and the right problem. Too often we spin wheels over and over again to selling to unqualified prospects. And just if you can get better at qualifying, it's a game changer. You may have less in your funnel, but your win rate is going to go up.
Okay, this is going to be a hard one for you. One sales book that you recommend.
One sales book that I would recommend. The one sitting over my shoulder here is the new Sandler one. It's Selling to the Modern Buyer, written by David Sandler. It's awesome. But this is going to sound crazy. The number one book I would recommend to people to read, salespeople to read, is not a sales book. It's Zig Ziglar's "See You at the Top." That's what I said just a little bit ago about confidence and trust. If you put sales skills on somebody who's not ready for them, you're putting the right skills on the wrong person. When you build the person first and layer in sales skills, you have a much better chance of having that stick.
So my next question was going to be, I don't know if you answered that already, one non-sales book. What would be a non-sales book?
There's a lot out there. Like I'm a voracious reader. I'm constantly have my nose in a book or sometimes two at the same time. And I love reading biographies. So I would say to anybody, based on your, the things you like, whether it's history or science or entrepreneurship, one of my favorite non-sales books was, Steve Jobs, biography, and just phenomenal way to learn more about innovation and creativity, and read biographies of people, not the gossip kind of biographies, but like really good historical business entrepreneurship type of biography. You're going to learn so much about how other people think and act.
So the last one, for today, sales in one word is
relationships, trust. I'll go back to the trust. Trust is a transference of feeling. Agreed? Trust is a transference of feeling. Sales is a transference of trust. People will talk to people that they like. They'll listen to people that they like, but they'll do business with people that they trust and respect.
All right. With that, Michael, thank you. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for being on this first episode of season 2 of Authentic Sales Leaders. It's been fun. It's been fun, and I have got to learn a lot. Thank you.